Ito ang matinding pasabog ngayon sa Kamara, bagong itinalagang Education Secretary na si Sonny Angara humarap sa pagdinig sa Kamara hinggil sa proposed FY 2025 budget of the Department of Education. Matindi ang mga naging revelasyon ni Sonny Angara sa dating pamamahala ni VP Sara Duterte. Dito nabunyag ang mga kapalpakan at kalat na iniwan ni VP Sara Duterte, na isiwalat din ni Sonny Angara ang katotohanan patungkol sa libro na isinulat ni VP Sara Duterte na isang kaibigan na siyang ikinagulat ng lahat. Narito at panoorin ang kanyang matinding revelasyon.
Thank you, Congressman Rog Gutierrez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'd like to direct my question to the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Teaching.
Yusek Gonong, you're recognized.
Okay. Madam Chair, I made that manifestation because my questions will mostly be about the utilization of 2022 and 2023. Now, Madam Chair, based on reports on November 21, 2023, the DepEd celebrated Araw ng Pagbasa, and this was spearheaded by the Bureau of Learning Delivery under the Curriculum and Teaching. Is that correct, Madam Chair?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
And during that event, Madam Chair, this was celebrated with the launching of Isang Kaibigan. It was held in a public elementary school in Quezon City. Is that correct, Madam Chair?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
So, Madam Chair, as the USEC being responsible for curriculum and teaching, and by that line of logic, yung Bureau of Learning Delivery, may we ask po, kayo po ba yung responsible for the production of this book, yung Isang Kaibigan?
Madam Chair, hindi po.
What is the role of the curriculum and teaching strand po in the production and development of Isang Kaibigan? I understand this was a project of the former secretary. Is that correct, Madam Chair?
Yes, Madam Chair. Wala pong role ang Department of Education sa development, reproduction, or printing of Isang Kaibigan storybook.
Thank you. Madam Chair, so as per reports, the illustrators were a certain Janina Simbilio and Joseph Kaliner of the Creative Media Unit, Public Affairs of the Service of the Department. Is this report erroneous, Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, I have no knowledge of that.
No knowledge. Madam Chair, under what department po kaya itong Public Affairs Service of the DepEd?
With your permission, Madam Chair, the two are employees of the Public Affairs Service Division of the Department, Your Honor.
They are employees.
Yes, but there is no payment made to them for whatever they did. So it's either they made it gratis or for free, or they were paid on the side. We don't really know because there's no record of official payment to them. But just for the record, they are employees, job order employees of the Public Affairs Service. Is that a bureau?
Service.
Public Affairs Service of the DepEd, Your Honor.
Madam Chair, thank you very much, Mr. Secretary, and apologies you had to answer that. But thank you for the confirmation. So the book there was a hand in the development of the book by employees of the DepEd, although it is probably by gratis or unrelated to their official functions of the DepEd. So that's something to note. So hindi po naman erroneous yung statement ng report na yun. So Madam Chair, prior to its launch, it would be said then that what is the knowledge of the good Undersecretary about this book? Was it the first time for her to find out about Isang Kaibigan during the launching itself? Because it was mentioned na wala po silang kinalaman sa development, but surely, perhaps in the procurement or in the preparation of the program, they have had some knowledge of this book.
Yung particular book po, nakita lang namin noong launch, but we know that she's going to read. Kasi po yung program na Araw ng Pagbasa, we do that yearly. And we invite reading ambassadors. So, minsan mga kilalang mga tao, mga officials ng DepEd, nagbabasa po yan sa mga schools. And they can choose the storybook that they're going to read. So, in this Araw ng Pagbasa in a Quezon City school, ang binasa ni VP ay yung kanyang story.
I see. So, at the time po, Madam Chair, as per the yearly event that you would have, yung reading ambassador is the former secretary.
Hindi naman po. Iba-iba po, kasama secretaries, kasama ang mga undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, regional directors, lahat po ini-invite namin actually na maging reading ambassador.
But in that instance, at least for isang kaibigan, that was the former secretary, and that was her choice of book. Her book, isang kaibigan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Madam Chair, is there no role on the part of the DepEd to curate what book would be read for isang pagbasa? They leave it totally at the discretion of the reading ambassador po ba?
Yes po. We ask the reading ambassadors to pick a book that they want to read as long as the book is appropriate to the level of the learners.
In that case po, Madam Chair, how many reproductions of the book would be required for a public reading? Because you mentioned this was not part of the DepEd, so hindi po kayo yung nag-produce ng book na ito.
Hindi po. It's a big book po. So kahit na isang book lang po, merong 10 students halimbawa sa harapan ng reading ambassador, malaki yung book, may mga pictures yung book, so yung reader reads the book na nakikita ng mga bata yung illustrations ng book.
Madam Chair, but if I recall correctly, and perhaps we can have the Secretariat pull up a picture later on, there were actually multiple copies of the book and each child was holding one. So I would assume that there was some preparation on the part of the department regarding this event.
There was a preparation regarding the event, Your Honor, but the distribution of textbooks wasn't done by the Department of Education. The printing, the distribution wasn't done by DepEd.
But for the case of that instance po, that event, then there were multiple copies of the book. Wala pong alam po yung curriculum and teaching.
Na alam po
As to
namin
the-
na may
I mean,
mga...
about how many books were prepared for that particular event. I understand, Madam Chair, the answer na wala pong kinalaman yung department in the production, supposedly, and development of the book. But we just wanted to know po, for that particular event.
Ang alam ko po, konting-konting copies lang po ang na-ready noon. Kasi nangihingi nga rin po ako ng copy noon, hindi rin po ako nabigyan. Kasi konti lang talaga para dun lang sa mga estudyante na umatendong reading session.
So, Madam Chair, okay, thank you. Just to clarify po, no, so no public funds were used in the production of the book. It was not come under any line item, and therefore it did not also go through any of the quality assurance and accreditation required under the DepEd. None of that po.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, my next question po, I'm not sure which USEC would be appropriate, but I'd like to ask about our learning tools and equipment program, Madam Chair.
It's still used Gonong, Congressman
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Madam Chair, I'd just like to ask, what steps are being implemented to improve the planning and execution of DepEd's programs to avoid future underutilization of funds? Because I understand yung LTE program po natin medyo underutilized po. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor. Una pong step na ginagawa namin ay yung early procurement activity. So, starting this year, nagpe-prepare na po kami para sa early procurement activities ng ating mga learning tools and equipment.
Okay. Thank you. So on the learning tools and equipment program specifically, why did the LTE program have such low obligation and disbursement rates? And I believe it's respectively 40.9% and 10.98% between 2021 and 2023. I understand the good secretary has just assumed the position, but we are hoping that the undersecretaries would perhaps have some institutional memory of these past budget years po, no?
Madam Chair, usually po yan ay dahil sa mga failed procurement po natin, failed biddings po natin.
Okay. Madam Chair, I had further line. Understand 30 seconds po ba yan? Okay. Last question po siguro, just to sum it up. Are there specific challenges or barriers that the DepEd faces in implementing the LTE program, and how can Congress help in this case? I understand procurement is a problem for any agency, but this one seems particularly troublesome po, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, so ang pagtitignan ko po lahat ng issue, I can sum up the issue in terms of procurement issues po talaga.
Could you
Sa
perhaps...
mga nagpi-fail po ang bidding ng mga learning tools and equipment namin.
Madam Chair, could you at least give us more details? I mean, it could be a number of things. It could be a lack of number of bidders. It could be failure to, to reach certain standards set up. Are our standards too stringent? Is it not public information made readily available? It could be a number of factors. It's very hard for us to just simply leave it as procurement problems. I hope you understand, Madam Yusek, that we're here to look for solutions.
Yes, Madam Chair, minsan po kailangan naming mag-recalibrate ng aming mga technical specifications. Kasi yung available sa market, halimbawa, hindi naman natatarget doon sa tech specs namin. So nagkakaroon kami ng mga adjustments. Meron ding mga kailangan din naming mag-adjust ng mga quantities ng mga pinoprocure namin na LTE kasi nagkakaroon ng minsan tumataas yung cost ng mga LTE.
With your permission, Madam Chair, if I may supplement the answer given by our Undersecretary. Ito po kasing, yung learning packages, there's so many different kinds. Ho. So, may baking package ho, for those who taking baking courses sa TVET. Meron din po yung bartending. So, one package is an amalgam or a combination of several items. So, it could be glasses, mixers, etc. So, medyo mahirap din talaga i-combine ho. So, I don't think there are that many takers sa field ho. And but really we are exerting efforts to improve our procurement and speed things up, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Seeing as I've had my time is up, I'll be concluding my interpellation. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Madam Chair. And we would like to express our support, and we support this sunny and bright future of the DepEd. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Salamat po, Kong Gutierrez.
Thank you, Representative Gutierrez. Next to interpellate is Deputy Majority Leader Lawrence Defensor.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of Region 6 and all the Ilonggos, I would like to congratulate Secretary Angara for his appointment. Wala nang mas masaya pa ditong kayo ang na-appoint kesa sa akin. As with due courtesy and respect to the Secretary, may narinig po kaming may namana kayong education crisis, and we've been hearing about the results of PISA na pinatayo kamababa. As part of EDCOM, baka pwede niyo po kaming sabihin kung ano po ang EDCOM at ano po ang very important findings ng EDCOM 2 at para matulungan po kayo naming maresolba ang problema natin sa edukasyon.
Yes. Thank you. Salamat po sa kind words, Kong Lawrence Defensor, Deputy Majority Leader. Maraming salamat po. Marami pong salamat din sa Kongreso dahil kayo ay bahagi ng EDCOM. Yung Educational Commission, yun ay commission na ginawa at ay naging bahagi rin po ako. Sila Chairman Mark Go, Kong Khalid Dimaporo, Kong Roman, and now Secretary Benitez of TESDA, and Kong PJ Garcia on the part of the House. And it's been very helpful as a guide ho, for reforms. Kasi kumukuha sila ng eksperto at masusi nilang pinag-aaralan yung mga sarit-samot mga problema ng ating bansa. And not just limited to the DepEd, Your Honor. Integrated yung approach nila. Tinitingnan nila yung CHED, yung TESDA, and how the whole system works together, Your Honor. That's why one of their recommendations was to create a cabinet cluster. Tulad ng nabanggit nila Kong Castro, nila Kong Manuel, na there is a teacher's mismatch, di ba? Hindi ba ho? Meaning, we have non-science teachers teaching science, etc. It's because we don't produce the right supply. Yung supply po, nasa CHED po yun. They were the ones who provide scholarships for graduates. So we need more science teachers. But how do we incentivize them? It's not within the power of DepEd to give these scholarships. So that's one of the examples of the many problems. Yung problema po ng guidance counselors, EDCOM pointed that out also. But as a whole, siguro I'm going to specific, but as a general proposition, EDCOM has pointed out that the learning loss is so severe that yung natapos po ng grade 12, ang kaparehas lang niya sa ibang bansa ay grade 5 o grade 6 in terms of skills. Ganun po kalala ang learning loss sa ating bansa. And it was made worse by the pandemic ho, dahil magandang ating intensyon, nagpumasok ho tayo sa synchronous and asynchronous learning, sa blended learning, sa hybrid learning. Ngunit hindi magandang resulta after assessing our students, Your Honor. Kaya marami pong rekomendasyon ang ating EDCOM, and we're very grateful to them, and we rely on them going forward, Your Honor. Pero nabanggit ni Kong Zamora yung miseducation report. Napakadaming rekomendasyon dyan, some of which we have already adopted. In fact, since we graduated from the TVET strand of senior high school in 2016, this year will be the first year that there are funds to assess our TVET high school graduates. Ibig sabihin, nag-graduate ho tayo sa TVET ng senior high school, pero walang certification ho, kung NC1 sila, kung NC2 sila. So, hindi sila na-hire ng industriya. They have to pay for their own certification and assessment. So 2024 is the first year that is in the budget of TESDA, Your Honor. So hopefully that will improve their chances of getting hired dahil yun ang pangako natin sa mga magulang, sa mga pamilya na baka hindi na kailangan magkolehiyo dahil yun ay out of reach for many of our families, Your Honor. These are just some of the samples of
Thank you.
the problems, Your Honor, but there are so many actually.
Thank you, Secretary. Madam Chair, may I request for the Undersecretary for the implementation of school-based feeding program? Sino po sa mga USEC natin?
Is ASEC Dexter Galban, if
Hi.
he may be allowed to take his seat and answer questions with your permission, Madam Chair.
You're recognized, Asek Galban.
ASEC Galvan, can I confirm na ang school-based feeding program natin ay 11.71 billion? Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, malaki po ang nakikita kong kaugnayan tungkol sa learning and school-based nutrition. Mahirap pong matuto ang mga estudyanteng bata kapag sila ay gutom. And in support of the Secretary's budget for the Department of Education, I would like to request the Committee on Appropriations to increase our budget for school-based feeding program para po sa ating mga bata. And second, Madam Chair, may I know who is the Undersecretary in charge for coordinating with TESDA as well as CHED? There is a recommendation that there be a permanent coordinating body for DepEd, for CHED, as well as TESDA para mas may ugnay po natin ang learning program, hindi lang sa basic education but also higher education and TechVoc. Ano po ang status para matulungan po namin si Secretary at maiangat po ni Secretary Angara ang permanent body na ito para magtulungan ang mga ahensya ng gobyerno on education?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Your Honor, Madam Chair. That is part of the proposal to create a cabinet cluster. That's one of the EDCOM proposals. But for now, we have the Teacher Education Council, which seeks to integrate some of the policies across the three agencies. And the point person is USEC Willie Cabral for the HROD, or Human Relations Organizational Development strand of DepEd.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Cabral,
Secretary.
you're recognized.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Your Honors. We are currently organizing the Teacher Education Council, and the work of the TEC is actually to establish relationship collaboration with CHED, TESDA, and with respect to the embedment of and training of our senior high school teachers, particularly on the trainer's methodology program, so that our senior high school students could be given that appropriate training to teach our senior high school acquire those competencies needed for a particular track. The ongoing collaboration of the TEC with TESDA is becoming robust.
Thank you,
Madam
Chair. Madam Chair, lastly, I'm not here just to support the budget of Secretary Angara, but I'm here to ask that we not only support the budget of Secretary Angara and the Department of Education, but the education crisis starts with us in funding the education for Filipino children. So I'm here not only to support the good Secretary, but to support and request that we increase the budget for the Department of Education for fiscal year 2025. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative Defensor. Next to ask question is from the minority. The chair now recognizes Representative Arlene Brosas. If she's not around, the chair now recognizes Representative Raul Manuel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning sa Committee on Appropriations tsaka sa mga officials po ng DepEd through the leadership of Senator and Secretary Sonny Angara. Good morning po. Gusto ko lang pong i-highlight yung isa sa mga na bring forth po kanina na finding na ang dating DepEd Secretary po as Vice President, meron siyang children's book project. Tapos ang kanyang tinapa para gumawa ng illustrations para dun sa children's book ay yung mga employees pa na under sa Department of Education. Parang hindi po ito ang first time na pinaghahalo po niya ang dalawang ahensya under her leadership. Tapos ngayon pa nga ay merong ganitong additional example. So hindi dapat ito i-take note lightly ng komite na ito, lalo na't nanghihingi pa nga ng additional budget para dun sa children's book na iyon, given na may ganitong hindi magandang history pala ang ganong proyekto, Madam Chair. So to proceed dun sa ilang mga points ko on the Department of Education, Madam Chair, na-mention din kasi kanina yung matatag curriculum, and even Congressman Rufus Rodriguez mentioned na may mga subjects talaga na hindi pwedeng pinaghalo-halo. Kasi po, Madam Chair, ang gusto nga po ni Kong Rufus yung PE dapat talaga hiwalay. Pero ngayon nga, at least yung naabutan ko, Madam Chair, yung PE kasama siya dun sa MAPE na Music, Arts, P, and Health. Pero ngayon po sa matatag curriculum, pati po yung MAPE at yung araling panlipunan, minerge pa. So, paano na lang po yung pagtuturo ng bawat specific subject? And I think mula naman sa interpellation ni Kong Franz, meron namang ways moving forward yung DepEd. Sana lang po talaga ma-incorporate yung ganitong mga observations kasi nga ang hirap na ma-ensure yung quality ng pagkaturo sa bawat subject kung parang blob sila na naghahalo-halo. Also, ito Madam Chair, on peace education. So, any official of DepEd po can answer. Gusto lang po nating malaman ano po ang objectives at ano po yung meat ng peace education na tinuturo ng department.
Salamat. Magandang umaga po, Congressman Manuel. Unahin na po natin yung PISA. Yung intention natin dito is, if I'm not mistaken, sa pagkaintindi ko yung PISA is to enhance a learner's critical skills as well as his ability to be analytical and to approach a problem from several aspects, meaning one question can challenge his reading, his math, and his science capabilities. Parang real life situation. Hindi naman nakakahon sa math, sa science, when you face a problem in real life. So that is my understanding of the OECD exam, PISA. So what we're doing is we're trying to have our education also try to be multidimensional in that sense, Your Honor, para matugunan niya yung mga ganong klaseng exams. Dahil parang and also it seems that there is a focus on certain types of awareness, meaning environmental awareness and other problems, climate change, among others. So I think it's also crucial to enhance that in our learners. Tapos also, yung mababa nating performance dahil karamihan sa mga bata natin hindi marunong gumamit ng computer. I was told, yung mga kumuha ng 2022, first time nilang humawak ng mouse, computer mouse, kaya medyo nataranta sila. So what we want is this early, we will get as many of them with access and practice on computers to actually take the test on computers. And there's also the problem of language. Dahil some take the test in their native language, pero there is no PISA test in Filipino as of yet, if I'm not mistaken, Your Honor. So English ho siya. So these are some of the PISA aspects and the demands on our learners. Doon naman ho sa pagsasama ho ng mga subject, yung thinking ho kasi dito is sana ma-decongest or ma-declutter yung ating curriculum so we can focus on yung tinatawag na foundational skills na literacy and numeracy, reading, writing, math. So that's why kaya pinagsama ho yung ibang mga subject. Pero tama ho kayo na yung isa sa mga pinakamahalagang tinuturo sa ating curriculum ay yung kasaysayan. Kaya sisiguraduhin natin na hindi mawawala yan at kung may suggestion po kayo na i-enhance yung ating curriculum at all levels from kinder even up to senior high school, this would be most welcome, Your Honor.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. Doon po sa matatag curriculum din, lalo under the former leadership of DepEd, doon po na-introduce kasi yung parang special siya na topic, yung peace education, yung paano daw tinuturo yung maging promoters, no, ng pagkakasundo, yun, kapayapaan yung ating mga estudyante. So sa ngayon po ba sumusulong na itong pagtuturo ng peace education? Tapos ano po ang nilalaman ng ganong topic?
Yes, Your Honor, Madam Chair. The peace education is incorporated in certain learning areas in Araling Panlipunan, in good manners and right conduct, as well as values education. But maybe, with your permission, I'll ask Yusek Gina Gonong to expound.
Thank
Yusek
you,
Gonong,
Sec.
you're recognized.
Madam Chair, yung peace education po ay naka-integrate sa ating mga learning areas. Kasama po dito halimbawa sa early grades yung self-awareness, yung building a community. Pagdating naman po sa mga higher grade levels, ang ini-integrate po natin na peace ed concepts dyan, yung security, disaster risk reduction, yan po ang mga kasama sa peace education.
Okay. Madam Chair, can we request the department to furnish our office and the committee copies of modules or learning materials na related po doon sa peace education?
We will do that, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Also, in connection, since meron pong noong 2019, DepEd Order number 32, ito yung National Policy Framework on Learners and Schools as Zones of Peace. We'd like to confirm na standing pa rin po ba ang ganitong DepEd Order?
May I ask that Yusek Escobedo be recognized? He's our Yusek for Operations, Madam Chair.
Yusek Escobedo, you're recognized.
Yeah. Good morning, Madam Chair. Yung DO po on schools as zones of peace ay kasalukuyan pong nire-review and for drafting. Nang sa gayon ay yung schools ay maiwas doon sa anumang violence or human-induced hazard. And we will consult all the stakeholders, especially the teachers and other organization as regards to the review and redrafting of this previously issued DO.
Madam Chair, ano po yung nag-prompt ng review ng ganitong department order?
Meron pong enhancement doon sa isa, yung meron kami mga nare-receive na complaints from the field na ito ay mas nagagamit ng ibang grupo and hindi na pahihintulutan yung isang grupo na pumasok sa school and other complaints na nare-receive namin sa field.
Okay. Madam Chair, kaya po natin ito na tanong in relation din dun sa peace education kasi nga ayaw natin na naabuso ang ganitong mga topics para magamit, no, para kabaligtaran yung maging effect, no, na na-endanger pa yung ating mga students, yung ating mga teachers, and in fact very explicit naman po dun sa current department order na halimbawa kung may mga lessons or kahit pa nga mga seminar, mga forum na para na siya dun sa goals like counterinsurgency, bawal din po yun. So we'd like to ask po ano yung timeline ng review nitong department order.
For the review and redrafting, we will, ang tingin namin ay mailalabas yung new DepEd order by December or early part of next year.
Okay. Next, Madam Chair, kasi ang mga forum din, mga seminar na nagagamit na talaga siya as platform for red tagging halimbawa, edi nalaman natin from the COA documents na dito ginamit yung confidential funds ng DepEd for 2023. So, may ma-elaborate pa ba ang DepEd on this? Kasi po ang binabanggit ng former DepEd Secretary ay ang dapat daw po sumagot ang officials ng DepEd nahaharap ngayon at iniwasan pong sagutin yung topic na ito. So, yun, we'd like to know lang kung may madadagdag po kayo or dapat po ba talaga ay hindi na kayo yung sumagot dito.
With your permission, Your Honor, and Madam Chair, perhaps our USEC for Finance can better discuss that since it pertains also to the confidential fund, Your Honor.
Yeah, recognize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We would like to clarify po yung role ng DepEd Finance in the release, utilization, and reporting of the confidential fund. And we have applied po the joint circular of COA, DBM, DILG, GCD, and DND. And we have complied with the requirements. Una po yung entitlement. Is DepEd entitled to the 2023 confidential fund? It was included in our JA in 2023 under a confidential expense tag in the list of the expenses. So that's the reason po na i-release po siya. Ang next po is the form of release. We also follow joint circular, cash advance. Naka-identify po doon that the 3 months requirement should be released in quarterly basis, and that the next liquidation should be upon the liquidation of the head of the agency to the chairman of the Commission on Appropriation. So to answer po yung question kung alam ba namin yung details nung pinagamitan, we do not know because we're not part of the process for utilization and liquidation. So what I can share is from the finance, we have released 3 quarters, that's 112.5 million. It has been recorded as liquidated because we were given a copy of the cover letter only of the liquidation. And the last quarter was not processed because there was no request to release it po, Madam Chair.
So hearing that, Madam Chair, ibig sabihin tama lang na last week ay niraise natin yung tanong na ito regarding the DepEd confidential funds on 2023 kasi nga mahirap din na expect natin na yung officials na harap ngayon under the new DepEd leadership ay sila yung sumagot dun sa tanong. So Madam Chair, to confirm, magre-request po ba ng confidential funds for 2025 ang DepEd?
No, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Maybe no po, bakit hindi? Ibig sabihin po ba ay hindi na nakikitaan ito ng purpose to continue and fulfill DepEd's objectives?
Yun ho, kasama ho yun. Siguro, hindi na rin hiningi nung predecessor namin for the last year and for 2024, if I'm not mistaken, wala rin po. So, and given that it is engendered, medyo naging controversial siya. Mabuti na rin umiwas ho, siguro, Your Honor. At hingin na po yun sa line item kung may mga pangangailangan po ang departamento. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sige. Last topic na lang, Madam Chair, no? Kasi nga, yun, tuloy-tuloy na yung mga bagyo pumapasok sa bansa. And we observed na meron kasing Disaster Preparedness and Response Program under the Inclusive Education Program of DepEd. So, ano po ang trend sa budget? Kasi sa initial data po namin ay bababa yung budget for this. And would DepEd want na taasan ito?
Decreased somewhat, Your Honor. I think it's around 900 million for 2025, if I'm not mistaken. But again, if I may ask that USEC Rev C. Escobedo be recognized because his strand is the one in charge of the disaster office, Your Honor.
Madam Chair,
USEC
yung nung 2023, meron pong budget ang Department of Education ng 2 billion for the Disaster Preparedness and Response Program Fund. At ito ay MOE para sa mga minor repairs, clean-up drive, and pagtatayo ng mga temporary learning spaces. Dahil kung binagyo yung ating schools, maraming mga classrooms ang nasisira, and immediately after the disaster, walang magamit ng mga classroom. So ito po ang ginagamit natin na pondo at directly released to the regions. And nung the following year, meron ulit na 2 billion na allocate for the Disaster Preparedness and Response Program Fund. At kasalukuyan ay meron pa pong sobra. Kaya for 2025, yung 2024 budget under the DPRP, yun pa rin yung gagamitin natin. At para mabilis yung utilization, naglabas na tayo ng guidelines na pwedeng pumasok sa framework agreement yung mga regions, meaning kapag merong bagyo o disaster sa kanila ay pwede na silang makipag-ugnayan sa mga industry para madaling makuha yung mga for repairs na kagamitan o materyales. And yung temporary learning spaces, yung budget na yon, dati kasi 180,000 lang, napakaliit. Ngayon, in-increase natin to 380,000 dahil yung current market price ng mga building materials ay talagang tumaas na sa iba't ibang region. So, tingin namin sa 2025 ay yung natitirang DPRP sa 2024 ay kaya naming ma-utilize, Your Honors.
Sige, with that, I have no further questions as of now. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to DepEd.
Thank you, Congressman Manuel. Next to interpellate is Representative Mark Go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sa DepEd po, sa pamumuno ni Secretary Angara, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Nakasama po natin si Senator Angara sa Education Commission, and I think his appointment is very, very timely, considering that we have been exposed to so many problems of education in the country, and we have seen the recommendation of the EDCOM on how to address these problems. And truly, I think napakaganda po yung response ng ating mga kababayan sa inyong pagiging Secretary ng Department of Education. And I have not heard anything negative as far as your appointment to the position. And myself, I'm also proud that you are the ones chosen to become the Secretary of the Department of Education. I would like also to manifest that I will fully support the budget of the Department of Education, and the proper time we will recommend for additional budget based on the wish list that you have submitted to us, amounting to about more than 60 billion pesos. And truly, ito po yung pag-asa ng ating bayan, ng edukasyon. Ngayon, ang tanong ko po, how do you like to be remembered in 2025 as far as DepEd is concerned? Ano po ba ang magiging mangyayari sa atin ngayong 2025? Siyempre, hindi na dapat learning crisis, hindi na dapat learning gaps at problema ng ating mga estudyante. Ano po ba yung makikita natin at the end of the tunnel ito pong 2025, Mr. Secretary?
Well, salamat. Thank you for the kind words, Chairman Mark Go. Who's also on the wish list of the educational advocates to fill up some of the vacancies in the educational agencies. But I think he has other plans. Your Honor, ang nais ko lang sana guminhawa po yung buhay ng ating mga learners at ang ating mga guro at ng ating DepEd family. And in what way? By making sure that we provide the learning environment, the appropriate learning environment for our learners, that we although it is quite a formidable problem, to provide some of the resources to enable our children to really learn and to empower our teachers, Your Honor. So, yun bang enable the DepEd to function more efficiently as an organization, make sure the books are delivered on time, the computers are working, there is electricity in our schools, just the basics, Your Honor, kasi the problems have become so serious and intractable that we've sunk to new lows. So we need to really step up as an organization. Each of us, I think, in the DepEd must get out of our comfort zones and work overtime, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chair. Sabi nga po ni John Maxwell, the rise and fall of an organization is dependent on leadership. And I can see the success of DepEd in the next 365 days. And we would like to be a party to that success by providing the appropriate budget to ensure that you achieve your goal for the Department of Education. Isa pong suggestion lang ang gusto ko. Kasi po, ang pinaka-importante pong asset ng DepEd ay yung kanyang mga teachers and other people working for DepEd. Sabi nga nila, people are our most important asset. Pwede po ba akong mag-suggest na magkaroon tayo ng performance evaluation sa lahat po ng mga kawani ng DepEd at alamin natin yung kanilang kakayahan, ilan sila, at from there we determine the interventions that we will implement sa mga kawani ng Department of Education. You have more than 1 million people in DepEd, and truly, ito po yung very formidable. Can you imagine if everybody has 20 years of experience, ilang milyong pong experience yan at kakayahan. Pero kailangan ma-evaluate natin yon. I do not know if you do come out with a normal curve to show where they are, how many percent are A, B, C, or D. From there, we can determine the interventions that should be done by DepEd in addressing itong ganitong sitwasyon, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Chairman Mark. Magandang suggestion po yun. And I was told we are we have existing performance evaluations, but maybe we need to, and this, as a result of these evaluations, nandoon po, doon nagde-depend yung performance-based bonus, yung promotions, but we will study it and see, and plot it out on a curve as you suggest para makita natin yung estado ng ating organisasyon. Thank you for the suggestion, Your Honor.
Yun lang po, Madam Chair. And again, saludo po ako sa inyo, Secretary Angara, at sa po lahat ng mga officials ng DepEd. At kami po sa EDCOM, tutulong po kami para ma-achieve po natin ang goal natin sa ating edukasyon. Maraming po salamat at magandang umaga po.
Maraming salamat sa inyo, Chairman Mark. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Go. Next to interpolate is from the minority, Representative Sergio Dagook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone, especially to Senator. Nasanay kasi ako pag naglalabi kami ng budget sa electrification. Alam ko kasi si Secretary Angara ay siyang nilalapitan namin sa budget ng sitio electrification ng National Electrification. Naiintindihan niya kasi member din siya ng Committee on Education kung bakit kailangang mailawan yung mga sitio. Kasi may mga eskwelahan tayo doon. So, with that, Secretary, taos-puso pong pagpapasalamat ng sektor ng mga electric cooperative nung nasa Senado pa po kayo. Year in, year out, tinutulungan po ninyo yung budget sa sitio electrification. May gusto lang akong linawin, Madam Chair. Mayroon pong mga guro o eskwelahan sa Siargao, kasi taga Siargao ako, nagpapatulong kasi may naka-allocate sa kanila for 2024 na 3 classroom. Pero itong classroom na to ay wala sa Siargao, nasa Sikan Engineering District ng DPWH. Hindi na-implement dahil ang DepEd allocation is 5 million, pero ang cost ng project sa DPWH ay 8 million. Na-risk ko na po to during the oversight, pero sadly, na-implement yung sa Siargao, sa First Engineering District. Kulang lang ng mga Kisame, CR, which tinutulungan ko na lang na mapagawa kasi some of these are adapted school po ng Siargao Electric Cooperative. Kasi yung teacher po yung asawa ko. So marami po akong adapted school sa Siargao Electric Cooperative. So itanong ko lang, mayroon ba, Mr. Secretary, na or baka hindi mo pa to alam yung USIC ng infra, may existing MOU ba or MOA with DPWH on how to implement this, yung budget ng DepEd na ipa-implement sa DPWH in as far as construction of classroom is concerned?
Salamat. Magandang umaga po, Congressman Dagook. Thank you sa sinabi niyo. Madam Chair, may we refer him to Yusek Densing, who is in charge of infrastructure as well as electrification, Your Honor.
Yusek Densing, you're recognized.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Your Honor, Ang nangyari po sa Siargao, yung naka-lodge po yan dun sa annex ng batas, and nagkaroon tayo ng problema nung panimula na hindi ito ma-implement kung mayroong modification. Pero no August 14 po, if I'm not mistaken, that's the date, nagkaroon na po ng ruling ang DBM na lahat ng modifications pwede na mag-undertake ng usual modification process, at base po sa MOA natin with DPWH, ang DPWH magsasubmit ng for modification at i-approve po ng DepEd. So yun po ang proseso natin.
So, ibig sabihin, i-approve muna ng DepEd yung modification bago ma-implement ni DPWH.
Tama po yan, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, no, Secretary, baka po pwedeng Yusek ma-revisit yung provision na yan. Baka po i-decide na ni DP para hindi po hahaba. Kasi ito mga pinipili po na mga ano na to, giba po sila sa typhoon audit. At ako po ay nagbibigay ng kung ano-ano doon sa ano para lang mga island barangays po to, at saka yung dalawa po sa mainland ay mga malalayo pong lugar ng Municipality of Mainit. Baka matingnan, na-i-risk ko din po to sa DPWH sa budget briefing nila. Kasi sayang din po, nasa simbahan minsan yung bata at may 5 million naman po. Kung hindi matapos, kahit tanggalin yung CR, kami na lang magpagawa ng CR, walang kisame, bibilhin na lang kami ng plywood para magkiraw ng kisame. Basta yung 5 million, kung ano lang mapagkasya, ma-implement lang kaagad, may masilungan lang yung mga bata, Mr. Secretary.
Madam Chair. Your Honor, we will initiate talking immediately to DPWH District Engineer Office, Second District Engineer. Kami na po mag-initiate, hindi na po namin antayin, and we'll give feedback, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Yusek. Doon po sa pangalawang issue ko, Madam Chair, yung mga resource gap natin na nai-risk ko din po sa oversight natin, dito ba sa budget ngayon, 2025, na-address na po ba yung budget para sa electrification noong mga classrooms na wala pang kuryente?
Your Honor, meron po tayong budget sa 2025 proposed budget na 1.3 billion item, and ang masasakop po nito is 432 school sites, Your Honor.
So, Yusek, kasi si Yusek ang kabisado dito, marami pa po hindi makaber, ano? Yung mga dati na walang kuryente.
Your Honor, Madam Chair, tama po yan. Ang updated number natin ng unenergized school is 2,001 nationwide. Banggit po ni Mr. Secretary, tama po, 432 po ang masasakop ng 1.3 billion. So meron tayong balanse na more or less 1.45 billion, 1.45 billion na hindi pa masasakop ng budget po nito, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Sana po, Madam Chair, ma-address natin to sa final budget kasi yung iba dito may mga computerization program po pero hindi nagamit dahil walang kuryente. Now, may I ask, Yusek, yung nai-risk ko sa last sa oversight na-address na po ba yung, because in the proper time, maybe sa plenary, I can manifest sa period of amendment. Baka mailagay natin sa special provision na yung budget para sa electrification may download na lang sa NIA. Alam ni Secretary to kasi siya ang palaging nagpapasilitate ng mga budget sa sityo para mabilis yung implementation ng paggawa ng linya. Hindi naman to kaya ng DPWH at saka DepEd. Doon na lang sana sa NIA. Yung sinabi ko na pag malayo yung eskwelahan identified, may joint inspection yung DepEd, DPWH at coordinate sa Electrico para ma-determine yung cost ng linya at may kasama sa project cost yung portion na yan may bigay na sa NIA para sa paggawa ng linya kasabay doon sa paggawa ng building.
Wala kaming objection dyan, Your Honor. Okay lang sa amin kung gusto nyo ipasok yung special provision na gano'n.
So, finally, Madam Chair, I would like to manifest my support to the budget of DepEd and further manifest to at least increase the budget for yung sitio yung electrification sa mga unelectrified classroom, din yung sa school feeding kasi I have personal experience yung school feeding dahil yung mga adapted school namin 80% po sa budget namin nasa school feeding kasi marami po talagang mga bata na papasok. yung asawa ko, pinapakain minsan yung mga bata kasi kawawa naman po, hindi sila nakikinig eh. Then finally, Madam Chair, brief lang naman po to. Mayroon tayong Republic Act 11285, Mr. Secretary. Ito yung Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. Baka pwedeng maituro natin to, hindi naman po yung talaga na baka may singit-singit lang natin. Kasi pag hindi natin naturuan yung mga senior high school natin sa energy efficiency, pataas na pataas po sa generation nila, sa next generation, yung ating cost of electricity. Dapat may inject na natin sa utak nila paano magtipid. Kasi kung magtayo tayo ng mga planta, babayaran natin lahat yon. Mayroon namang paraan na hindi tayo ng maraming planta. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Secretary and DepEd family.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Dagoc. We will look into that kahit sa ibang subjects natin na ipasok. Pero very, very good point ho, yung sa energy efficiency. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Representative Dagoc. Next to ask question is from the majority, Representative Jervil Luistro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, congratulations to our new DepEd Secretary, the Honorable Sani Angara. With all due respect, Mr. Secretary, kanina pa po natin naririnig yung PISA. And I think the people ought to know what is this PISA all about. So by the meaning, it stands for Program for International Student Assessment. At mayroon pong ranking ang Pilipinas when we talk about PISA. Now, for the understanding of the Filipino people, with all due respect and with the permission of the Chair, I wish to share this slide.
Secretariat, please facilitate.
If I may read, Madam Chair, in 2018, there were 79 participating countries. Ang Pilipinas po, we ranked 79th in reading, 78 in science, and 78 in mathematics. Suffice it to say that Philippines is at the bottom. Tayo po ay putot kung tawagin. And then in 2023, there were 81 participating countries. Ang Pilipinas po, it ranked 76th in reading, 79th in science, and 76th in mathematics. And I conclude that there is no significant change. There is no argument that we are already in the computer age. This is a transition that we are all mandated to face. As a matter of fact, this reality was bolstered during the time of pandemic. All services were done by way of online system. And Mr. Secretary, dito rin po nauso yung online class. The term online class. But how can we do it in public schools? And because of the lack of the necessary facility, nauso naman po yung modular. That is the intervention that we did in place of the computer system. Recognizing this reality, Mr. Secretary, nag-launch po ang DepEd ng Department Computerization Program. And along with this, nagkaroon po tayo ng Information, Communication, Technology, packages. At ito po'y dito ko nakita sa Audit Observation Memo for 2022-2023. However, before I proceed to that, Mr. Secretary, gusto ko po sanang tanungin government official from the previous administration of DepEd, the time of the previous secretary. In 2023 po ba, ano po ba ang ratio natin ng teacher to computer set at ng estudyante to computer set? Madam Chair?
Sino bang in charge ng computers? Admin? Maybe our director for, because the previous undersecretary for admin has resigned, Your Honor. But there, we have with us the director for IT, that's Director Pitagan. Maybe we could ask that he be recognized to explain and answer the question. With your permission, Madam Chair.
Director Pitagan, you're recognized.
Blessed morning to all. Ma'am, for the student ratio, currently we are one computer per...
If I may interrupt, we are asking for the year 2023, sir, so we can relate it with the result of the AOM for 2023.
Ma'am, yun. For the 2023 fund, ma'am, the computer ratio is 1:9, meaning one computer, 9 students po.
That is 1:9. One computer for 9 students. How about the ratio for the teachers?
Ma'am, for the teachers, come on, we're getting the, ma'am, the grand total, dito po yung region is, one computer is for 30 teachers.
One computer for 30 teachers.
30.57.
That is almost saying impossible to facilitate an e-learning system having one computer for 30 teachers. And I believe, Madam Chair, that this validates the reason why the DepEd in 2023 requested and lobbied for an allocation amounting to 11,361 million. In other words, sinuportahan po tayo ng Senado at ng Kongreso in addressing this need, in addressing this gap. However, if I may request the Secretary to flash the next slide. If I may invite your attention to the current appropriations. Ito po yung appropriation for 2023. The amount is 11,361 million. However, ang naging utilization po niya is only 19.22%. That is equivalent by way of obligation to 2,183 million and disbursement to 2,075 million. So, bakit po sa tindi ng pangangailangan natin for ICT packages, Madam Chair, out of 11 billion allocation, bakit po 2,075 million lang ang naging disbursement? Can we hear from DepEd?
Please answer the question. May we direct Director Pitagan to answer, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Ma'am, for the 2023, when the new administration came in, the priority was the continuing 2022. That's why for 2022 funds, we have the 92% obligation. Now, yung 2023, ma'am, tumawid ngayon siya na 2024. So right now...
Madam Chair, if I may interrupt,
Opo.
parang ang hirap pong i-appreciate nung naging explanation nyo na ang priority nyo is continuing, which is the budget from 2022. Why therefore did you request for 11 billion for 2023? Kung sasabihin nyo ngayon, ang priority nyo is 2022, kaya hindi nyo nagamit yung 2023. Alam po ninyo, Mr. Resource Speaker, Doon po sa amin sa Batangas, hindi po magkamayaw ang humihingi ng tulong na estudyante, teacher, and even PTA officers. Lahat ang problema nila, computer, laptop. Now we have this 11 billion budget. You requested this for 2023. Bakit po ang disbursement nyo 2 billion lang?
Yun, ma'am. To answer the question po, in May 2024, nabili na po natin yung 2023 budget. Ang pending po natin, 95% na yung ating obligation. Kaya lang po hindi po nagre-reflect is because we are asking for the modification of the expense class from capital outlay to MOOE.
Madam Chair, yun po bang May 2024 na sinasabi nyo, does this pertain to the 2 billion disbursement?
Hindi, ma'am. This pertains to the 8 billion more na hindi pa na gagamit.
So nasaan po yung 8 billion?
Ma'am, yun, nagamit na po natin to.
Where are the computer sets now?
The computers now are being delivered to the schools. Yung pong hinahanap nyo na 20...
Who can validate that information that they are being delivered to schools? Because as far as I know, napakatindi po ng pangangailangan for computers ng ating mga public schools. If I may continue, Madam Chair, he made mention about the continuing appropriation. So let me invite your attention to color blue of the slide. Ayan po yung continuing appropriation. We have 9 billion budget. Tama po si Mr. Resource Speaker. May nagamit na 8 billion. But what surprises me a lot, punta po tayo sa baba. Both the current and the continuing has an accomplishment of 0%. Does our Resource Speaker validate this report? This is as of December 31, 2023.
Yes,
and if I may add, Madam Chair, pagdating po natin dito sa accomplishment report, I hope the people of Batangas are listening to me. Para hindi na nila kulitin kung nasan itong mga computer. We're talking about 2,349 LC, 2,648 smart TVs, 12,022 laptops, 7,558 laptops. That is for current appropriation. And for continuing appropriation, Madam Chair, ang hindi po na-deliver, 6,770 packages. And the breakdown is 4,067 LC, 337 smart TVs, and 2,366 laptops, with 3,161 laptops for non-teaching personnel. This is as of December 31, 2023. Nasaan po itong mga equipments na ito?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, yung pong pinabagit nyo na 4,067 laptops, na-deliver na po natin ang 91.47%. Yung pong sinabanggit nyo na 337 packages ng smart TVs, na-deliver na po natin ang 91.6%. Doon po sa laptop for teaching, 2,366 packages, 100% na po na na-deliver natin to para sa mga teachers. At yung pong laptops for non-teaching, na-deliver na rin po ito ng 100%. These are all accounted for the fund year of 2022.
May we request the Resource Speaker to submit to us the documents proving all the delivery?
Yes, ma'am.
And can we go, Mr. Resource Speaker, to the current appropriation? Nasaan po itong 17,019 packages under the current appropriation?
Okay. Under the current appropriation for the e-learning cards, that's 1,655 packages. Medyo mababa pa po yung ating delivery dito, which is 3.44 delivery because the contract, ma'am, the NTP was May to December. So ang target po before the end of the year, maibigay po yung lahat ng ELC. Sa STV naman, ma'am, it's the same. For 5,942 packages, it's 3.77% na po yung na-deliver.
If I may interrupt, Madam Chair, in other words, the average percentage with respect to the delivery is 3%
Yes, ma'am.
out of the total number of packages.
Yes, ma'am. Because the procurement of the current 2024 happened in January.
Madam Chair, I hope that the DepEd, Mr. Resource Speaker, realizes that the specification when we talk about ICT changed so fast. Hindi ko po alam kung paano nyo i-realize ito concerning the possible significant changes already with the specs of the ICT packages for which the current appropriation is originally allocated.
Thank you very much for that very good observation. Ma'am, all our packages from e-learning card to STV, laptop for teachers, and laptop for non-teaching are duly vetted and cleared from the Department of Information, Communication, and Technology. So nagsasubmit po kami sa kanila ng tech specs, including that of the 2023, and they gave us the corresponding clearance.
What causes the delay?
Ma'am,
Or should I say, who causes the delay?
Ma'am, hindi naman. Ma'am, kasi yun nga pong 2024, yung current fund, siyempre po nagsimula po kami ng procurement ng January.
No, this is 2023 budget.
The 2023 budget.
Current appropriation pertains to 2023 current appropriation.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, yun nga po, if I may backtrack a bit, kasi po noong 2023, when we first came in, yung new breed of leaders, hindi pa po nagagalaw yung 2022. So naging priority po muna yon noong 2023.
I will go back to my question, Madam Chair. If your priority is 2022, then you should not have requested for 2023. Kanina po may nabanggit na nasa warehouse. Ano po ba yung nasa warehouse?
Ma'am, yung nasa warehouses na nabanggit, these are not these lots. Ito pong DepEd computerization program na ito po yung recalibrated DCP. Yung pong nasa warehouse, those are those purchased during 2020, 2021.
2020, 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
Ito pong 2022, ito yung 2023, ito po yung dinideliver pa lang ngayong 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I just wish to manifest my frustration about the significant delay in the proper bidding, procurement, and delivery of all this ICT equipments. Ito po'y kailangan ng ating mga public schools. As a matter of fact, I wish to believe na ito po ang dahilan kung bakit ang Philippine education ay nasa bottom ng ranking ng PISA. Mayroon naman po tayong budget. Why don't we act promptly? So we address this problem in the Department of Education.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, for that observation, validating the need of technology for schools. Ma'am, kaya po ngayon, doon po sa hinihingi namin na 2025, we have started already the early procurement activities. Para po ngayon this year, meron na pong NEP level, sinimulan na po namin yung EPA activities para nga pagdating ng 2025, mabili ka
Madam
agad
Chair,
at
I wish to go
ma-deliver.
back to my question. What caused the delay in the procurement for 2023? Because I do not consider as a valid excuse na priority nyo ang 2022. Please give me a valid reason.
Well, some of the reasons na nilagay din po namin, number one, we have to, since bago yung leadership, we have to recalibrate. Kasi ma'am, dati e-classroom Sean, so we have to really do an extensive onboarding of all the strands, all the people on the ground. Ano ba talaga yung kailangan? Magbibigay ba tayo ng computer laboratory? and a whole other...
Ibig sabihin, Mr. Resource Speaker, while you are doing all this procurement, you have not made up your mind as to the specification of the ICT that you are procuring. That is a manifestation, Madam Chair. I acknowledge that my time ended already. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Representative Luistro. Since there are no other members from the minority who wish to ask question, let's proceed to the rest of the members of the majority for the interpellation. Next to ask question is Representative Migs Nograles. Not around. The chair now recognizes Vice Chairperson Representative Zia Alonto Adjong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Magandang umaga po sa ating DepEd family. Let me just associate myself, Madam Chair, to the opening remarks of our sponsor when she describes our current weather status with the entry of our Secretary, Sani Angara. Well, it makes the Beatles song a little bit relevant today. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, I was listening to the manifestation of our good friend and a veteran legislator from Cagayan de Oro City, Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, when he also mentioned about one of my favorite Western philosophers, the father of modern philosophy, René Descartes, cogito ergo sum. I think therefore, the reason why I'm saying this, Madam Chair, because it has, though Descartes is a Protestant, but it has a religious symbolism to that statement, cogito ergo sum. As our secretary would know, the first surah chapter in the Quran, which was revealed to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was Suratul Alaq. In English, it means daybreak or dawn. So it represents the emergence of the wisdom and the knowledge that the person needs to acquire. And the first line that was revealed to our Prophet was Iqra. In Arabic, Iqra, it means read. Read. And the succeeding lines, read in the name of thy Lord, who created man from a single clot of blood, who teaches man what he knows not. So, in response to Congressman Rufus' manifestation earlier, the reason why it is innate for every one of us to seek knowledge is because we are trying to get closer to the source of knowledge, which is God. So, I'd just like to ask a question. I don't know which of the undersecretaries would I be directing this question, because I came from a Muslim community, a minority Muslim community. Sometimes these communities are outside of, outside of the reach of the central offices, in this case, DepEd. So I'm more particular about how the DepEd would really push on to include all the marginalized communities, especially those who are in the far-flung areas, and those, especially communities that have been affected by either man-made or natural calamities. So I'm more interested in the program, yung tinatawag po nating Last Mile Schools program, Madam Chair. So before I ask the question to whichever is appropriate undersecretaries to help me understand further, enlighten me as to the status of this program, I'd just like to ask Secretary Angara. I was reading in a news article that came out today, this morning, and you were quoted, actually, Madam Chair, Secretary Angara, about your recommendation to review and reassess the processes in terms of, I guess, the procuring of procurement processes, and to reevaluate the existing policies of your department. May I ask, Madam Chair, if Secretary Angara particularly refers to the Last Mile Schools program, and why does he recommend the reevaluation and review of the existing procurement policies of his department?
Good afternoon, Kong Adyong. Salamat po for your very optimistic words, and salam alaikum. You're correct, Your Honor, Madam Chair. That is one of the concerns because dito sa last mile schools, the experience on the ground is parang nagugulat yung nagbibid siya ng mababa, tapos nakikita niya napakalayo pala nung lugar. So, madalas ina-abandon niya yung project, sa totoo lang. So, I think we have to examine our bidding processes there and ensure that there is enough room for the associated costs, the logistics of building these classrooms. And itong last mile schools, of course, ito nga yung in geographically disadvantaged, isolated and disadvantaged areas or GIDA areas. And there is a budget in the 2025 proposed budget for 10 billion covering 154 school sites. But more generally, regarding procurement, I really noticed that mabagal ho kami sa procurement. I think if you notice for 2024, the books are not arriving on time, Your Honor. We're only starting to deliver books now, and the kids are already in school. The completion of the books will be done by December, Your Honor. So, hindi na po pwede. I think we can borrow practices from some other agencies of government who do, nabanggit po yung EPA or yung early procurement activities. It is applicable not only to infrastructure, because to build a classroom is more difficult than building a road, Your Honor, because you have to assess the condition of the soil, you have to validate the school site, you have to check that there is a school title, among others, among many other things. You have to check that if you're building a 5-story school building, that the structure can be supported by the geographical conditions, Your Honor. These are but some of the things we have to do, unlike when we put something for a road. So I've conveyed this to the leadership of the House, and I think that's why they're asking for your lists quite early, and we're very appreciative of this proactive action on the part of the chair, the vice chair, our budget sponsor, our senior vice chair, because working together we can really accelerate the pace, because if we do a status quo type of action, wala hong mangyayari sa atin, Your Honor. We need really to work in tandem, multitask, meaning we're debating the budget, but at the same time, we're also doing the executive or administrative activities like early procurement activities for books, for infrastructure, for computers, doing things like market scoping, discussion with the prospective bidders, short of award, Your Honor, because clearly that's what the DPWH does in many of its infrastructure projects, I understand, Your Honor. Kaya yun po yung nais nating mangyari. And then lastly, dun sa reading ho, unfortunately we're not a reading culture, Your Honor, but I suspect everyone in this room has benefited somehow from reading, meaning our parents read to us, our teachers read to us, and we learned reading at a young age, and we imbibed it and we read on our own so that we progressed in life, Your Honor. So the studies show that the countries who do the best in PISA exams are those where there's a reading culture and the parents read to their children. That's why they check, bakit sa ibang bansa active naman ang parents sa Parent Teachers Association, nanonood po sila ng soccer game, ng basketball game, nagpapakain naman sila. Pero hindi yun ang effective interventions po. Yung effective intervention, yung basahan natin ang ating mga anak. For teachers, for parents, for communities, we really need to work together to encourage a reading culture in our country. That is the future, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary Angara. Now, you mentioned about the slow and delay process in the bidding process. No, is it safe to assume, Madam Chair, Secretary, that in the previous, itong sinabi mong i-recommend for evaluation, what is the how do you proceed with the bidding processes before you procure? Is it centralized ang bidding ninyo, or do you also devolve these functions to your regional and city and provincial offices? Kasi may delay. Ang sabi mo kanina, because of the logistics, sometimes it causes delay because you procure in the central offices.
Yes, Your Honor. That's a very good question. Decentralized po yung repairs. Of course, construction is for the DPWH. Pero yung mga repairs of classroom nasa regions po yun. The bidding is also at the regional level, Your Honor. And for furniture, school furniture, that's also at the regional level. Pero yung mga libro, yung mga computers na napag-usapan natin previously is done at the central office. So I think one of the reforms that we can institute is how we can do it at the regional level para mas mabilis po.
Okay, di ba your department is requesting for additional 10 billion pesos to fund the LMSP program. But let's talk about the challenges that you faced in terms of the slow utilization in the budget. According to your submitted summary of appropriations, allotments, obligation, disbursement, and balances, there was an amount of 20.54 billion pesos. Only 50% of that was utilized, which amounts to roughly around 10.29 billion pesos. And this is on top, Madam Chair, this is on top of the budget, the slow completion of facilities. I think the program is aiming to provide for among the 152 sites constructed. There are quite a number of funds that have been reverted. So I'm asking now, Mr. Secretary, or whoever is in charge of this program, which Undersecretary is in charge of the LMS, why is there a slow delay of the completion of these projects, number one, prior to the request of the 10 billion, because there's a sizable amount that you have not been utilized but obligated? I'm just asking, Madam Chair, what really causes the delay in terms of the sites that you have already identified, the completion of these school facilities, and as well as the reversion of some of the funds that have already been allotted to you. Number 3 is also the 73, I think 70 sites have already completed, but out of the 156. Now, this program has been going on since 2022, and this is now the 4th year of this program, if I may say so. So I'm just wondering, Madam Chair, what really is the challenges that you're facing? Is it because of, sabi nga ni Secretary, is it because of the logistics? Is it because there seems to be a problem in terms of the liquidated damages that you have to incur against those suppliers that did not faithfully complied with the agreement you have signed? I don't know, Mr. Secretary, whoever
with your permission,
yes, I have so
Jong.
many questions, but I have limited time. That's why I'm trying to compound all these questions all together.
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate that,
Yes.
the holistic approach, Madam Chair. If I may turn them over to Yusek Densing, with your permission, Your Honor, because they were the ones in charge of the Last Mile Schools program under the school infrastructure strand previously.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Your Honor. With respect to the Last Mile School program, the problematic year for implementation was the 2021, primarily because it was the only time that the procurement of the Last Mile School was centralized. And there were 3 contractors that was chosen. So when the infrastructure strand was created, we talked to the 3 contractors, giving them a chance to continue. And after they were given a certain deadline, only one of the contractor was able to finish, I think, 95% of what was allotted to it. The other one is around 25 or 30%. The balance, I think they will not be able to build anymore. And the third contractor had zero output, and this was the contractor which was in charge of Mindanao. And we are now in the process of terminating those contractors who really did not comply with their requirements.
Those are the facilities, no?
Opo, Last Mile School po.
Okay. Now, what about, Madam Chair, just to wrap up, no? Kasi kanina po, they were asking about the delay of the, the delivery of these computers, no? Sometime, I think I heard the Secretary earlier that there are about how many worth of millions of pesos of computers that are still stockpiled in a certain warehouses, and you need to ask assistance from our military just so that they can be delivered to their
Going
end
back to
users.
2020 po.
Yes, 2020. So up to now, no? So gusto ko lang i-compartmentalize, Madam Chair, if I may, no? Gusto ko lang there's a problem with the ongoing construction of facilities, and there's also a problem of the delivery of these equipments, school equipments. I'm asking, why is the DepEd did not even gain or have not even filed or gained for liquidated damages against these contractors? That's a simple reason, no? Apart from you have already paid 211.5 211 million pesos as mobilization fees. Now, I'm just wondering, why are we spending so much money for a certain equipments that whose suppliers have not faithfully delivered as scheduled based on your contract? Bakit ganun na nagka-problema tayo? I think that's the thing that you need to first to address. No? And then now we are asking for a 10 billion budget for the same program, and yet you have not utilized, you have not properly, you did not even file for a complaint against all these earring suppliers, Madam Chair. That is my last manifestation in
the figures. Sir, the last mile school in the budget for 2021 for last mile school is 1.5 billion only. 1.5 billion again in 2022 and 23, and 3 billion in 2024. Opo. That's for the last mile school.
Oh, yeah.
So for 2022 up to 2024, we've started to devolutionize the procurement to the division level. So it's much faster. That's why in 2022, 23, and 24, the procurement is faster. But again, there's still, you're right, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair, Your Honor, that there's still logistical issues because when they bid, they would eventually find out that they would have a hard time delivering the raw materials to the last mile school
Madam Chair,
areas.
I, with all due respect, no, it's not just the logistical challenges. You have at least, at the very least, file a complaint for those suppliers who have not fully and faithfully delivered these equipments. No, it's not only a logistical. Ano, kasi the more that you delay, it's actually disenfranchisement. It's a disservice to our students, especially to those who are in need of all these equipments. Remember, Mr. Secretary, I came from a far-flung area. So, kaya nga po mayroong last mile self-schools program tayo because precisely we want to have all the areas in the Philippines. We are scattered everywhere. We are a archipelagic country. And may mga urban, rural areas dyan na kailangan talaga ng quality na services sa ating education. The more that you don't do anything about this, at least man lang have these suppliers answer. Legally or whatever, just complain. Because this is actually a disservice to the people, to our students in the far-flung areas.
Madam Chair, quick response.
Yes, please wrap up.
For the 2021, we've already initiated...
Now you're asking 10 billion pesos additional, and you have yet to actually utilize the remaining funds.
Your Honor, we did not ask for a 10 billion.
No, I think the Secretary, if I may heard correctly, that's 10 billion pesos.
3 billion.
It's in the proposed NEP, Your Honor, not in the wish list, but in the original agency submission to DBM, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you for that correction, Mr. But let me just finally, let me just say, Madam Chair, yes, please, again, very short lang po. Please, under your stewardship, Secretary Nga, I hope that we can see at least a sense of accountability. No, I think it's time. Part of that review that you have recommended, reevaluation of the processes, the policies. I think we also need to run after those people who have deliberately, pinag-ano tayo. Kumbaga parang andun yung deliberate way na talagang niloko tayo.
Yes, sir.
No? For that, Madam Chair, that's my final remark.
Yes, Your Honor. We will go after these people, and the suggestion to pay special attention. Tututukan po namin, Mr. Congressman Adyong, itong programang ito dahil ito yung pinakadapat tinutulungan natin sa educational system po natin. Sa ibang bansa, kapag dehado ang isang eskwelahan, dehado mga bata, yun ang binibigyan ng pinakamalaking tulong o pondo. Parang dito sa atin, di nangyayari po yun. But we will make sure that changes, Your Honor.
May nakasuhan ba, Secretary, in line with that question?
Madam Chair,
sure, Your Honor.
Tine-terminate namin yung contractor dun sa Mindanao, and we will also ask them to be blacklisted.
Minsan ho kasi baka dapat, one thing I'm thinking about, Your Honor, Madam Chair, is baka dapat ilipat na namin sa DPWH just like the construction of the classrooms. Kasi construction din naman ho ito eh. So I think mas kabisado ho nila yung sino yung mga gumagawa, sino yung mga hindi maasahan. Dahil minsan, kumukuha kami ng contractor pero na-blacklist na pala ng DPWH. So I think the more practical thing is really to maybe put a special provision that it can be, or maybe if it's within the power of the committee, to ensure that the implementation along with the construction is with your permission. That's just a suggestion, Your Honors.
We will take note of that. The Senior Vice Chair also is taking note of that. In line with that question, may we ask the department to submit a report on the status of these contractors for
Do that,
our
Madam-
file?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Before we proceed with other interpellators, the Chair will declare for a 30-minute lunch break to give ample time for our DepEd family and other members also of the committee to have our lunch. The Chair declares for a 30-minute suspension. We resume at 1 p.m.
Thank you.